Water trickling. I think that's going to be the theme of this quarterly update. This is the trench that flows into the dam near the front gate, which is full. There's been a lot of rain, and since the days we've had sort of probably a good week, over a week of wet. There's mushrooms everywhere, so trickling water and mushrooms will feature in this update. Added this third swale here. Still waiting to find some more pipe to go in here before we put mulch. But I'll show you the other two swales. Now that there's people staying in the caravan, every 3 or 4 days I pump out the grey water so that nutrient and the extra water comes to these swales, and basically I pump one time here and then the next, so sort of 3 or 4 days later I pump in the second one and then the third one, and just rotate them so they're getting all that extra water and nutrient. So you can see here how well some of these trees have grown now. So this is the first swale that was planted first, and these are various different nitrogen fixers, acacias most of them, and they're growing quite well along the second one. You can see the grass definitely growing really well below each swale, so nice thick grass here and some more fungus erupting. Okay, so this is the two young girls. This is Milky and Chocky, and they were born in September, so they're still quite small. Nice friendly goats, quite talkative. Milky, come here Milky, Milky, Milky. Cut, 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 cut. Come here, Milky, come on. Oh, good girl. Good girl. You good girl. So one of the things I've been spending the most time on is the dome. It's still covered over because we haven't waterproofed it. Today I was just doing the 3/4 of the step. I do 3/4 and then close the door and do the other quarter. The inside is pretty much finished. I made a bed frame, cut a mattress so it's kind of a half moon shape, and we've painted the inside rather than rendering it all. I'll go inside so you can see what's looking like inside. The lighting's not so great, and because I was working in here this morning it's a bit messy, so now I'm laying on the bed. So you can see we rendered up around the doorway. We rendered that because the bags weren't all that nicely fitting together. It's the difficult part to do, and then the rest of the bags we've left like they are, and we've just painted them I think 4 or 5 times, and it soaked up quite a lot of the paint, but I think it's going to last quite a long time, and it's a nice effect when you're in here. You can feel like it's made of bags rather than just being all rounded and smooth. This is our second fig tree producing fruit for the first time, which is great. And I guess all the garden now is looking quite green and stuff's starting to grow again. We had a pretty horrendous summer with some very, very hot periods and quite long dry periods as well. And so we spent a lot of time just keeping things alive, watering the things that we really, really didn't want to die. And we lost a few plants, but now we had about 100 mils in about 2 weeks, or maybe it's 100 mils in March so far, and everything now is kind of recovering and growing well. There's not really a lot to show sort of what we've been doing. I've been doing a lot of planting here and there, trees, herbs, show you in the kitchen garden, for example. So what I figured is that just putting mulch underneath fruit trees isn't really so natural, and I don't think it really improves the soil much. You need plants to get the soil improvement happening. So you can see there was like a squash growing there and a couple other herbs, but I've planted lots of other things. So I'll name a few of those. I've got comfrey, perilla, licorice plant, another flowering one, a couple different tagetes, marigolds, a basil, horseradish, the Okinawa spinach, and I think some lemon balm. So lots of different things. Some of those will probably die off in the winter with the frosts, but hopefully they might still flower before then. And I will keep adding more and more herbs because we're converting this kitchen garden into perennials. I think the more herbs we have, the better, and I've kind of started doing the same here. The nitrogen fixers now are growing quite well. Like you can see that acacia there in the background. It's been chopped and dropped, so you can see little piles beneath the trees as woody mulch. If you've just still been spending a lot of time growing our food, you can see more mushrooms popping up. This pond we've been able to almost fill up, and this pond has been really great. It's allowed us to irrigate the most we have ever so far, and basically that pond irrigated our annual garden circles, and I just made a little 12-volt pump setup so that Evita could just put that there by the pond, switch it on, connect it to a hose, and then walk over here with a hose and be able to water things that really needed watering. We've got a really good crop of spaghetti squash, whole box already, plus what you can see there on the ground. There's still corn growing, lots and lots of different things. Some eggplants coming along. And I really like looking at these circles. There's a really strong polyculture. There's lots and lots of plants all growing together. Not immune from pests, but I think pest pressure is reduced, and they look interesting, they look good, and at any one point you come here and pick something that you can eat, put it in your mouth, and I like that.